If it's Friday night, say yeah, for it's another edition of Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Glad to have you with us on this muggy Friday night. Joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Michael Bullock will be late. He is leaving our very special event here in East Providence for anybody who knows. Big fireworks spectacular at Pierce Memorial Field. Michael Bullock went to it with his girlfriend, and they're just leaving now. He's bringing her back home, and we'll see. We'll see how long it'll be before he joins us. But if he does come in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully see him Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. But for right now, MF and I will hold it down for now. So when it comes to tonight, all it's really about, well, two things really. Major League Baseball power rankings, that'll be at the end. But the main theme of this show tonight is NBA free agency. NBA free agency started this week, and we have a tracker and everything else, and man, oh man, so many exciting moves have gone down over the last few days, and man, I don't know where. There's only one way we can start it off, and of course that is the big one, the Brooklyn Nets. You remember recently on a past show some time ago, we talked about the that trade with Atlanta, and it benefited them. Oh, it benefited them big time. They were looking for a couple of max contracts. Oh yeah, they got them. They got them, boy. That's all there is to say on that. Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Yes, the Brooklyn Nets got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Unreal. I mean, just amazing. And right now, they're one of my teams that are absolutely killing it right now in free agency. Absolutely. The Brooklyn Nets, where else do you start? Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving both agreed to sign with the Brooklyn Nets and are perennial all-stars who will make a good team title ready. The Nets are arguably a top 4 squad in the East, even as Durant prepares to spend the next year rehabbing a ruptured Achilles. But that's only part of why this week is so cathartic for Brooklyn. The last half-decade of Nets basketball has been hopeless. Not only was the team bad, but the 2013 Kevin Garnett-Paul Pierce deal, one of the most lopsided trades in sports history, has also robbed it of a future while getting a division rival and an exceedingly promising one. For the Nets to assemble a playoff roster under those circumstances and then convince two of the league's best players to join them, all while the very team that's swindled Brooklyn sees its chances at a title quickly evaporating, is sweet, sweet victory. There are clear arguments for why the Durant-Irving experiment could underwhelm, but right now the Nets are winners, and gigantic ones at that. I mean, that's the one. That's how we have to start. I mean, MF. Wouldn't you agree? That's the perfect way to start. I mean, that's those were the two biggest nukes of free agency so far.
That was the biggest dominoes of all. When Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving both went to the Brooklyn Nets, there was a seismic shift in the NBA. I think we all remember what happened when, first off, a lot of people knew Kyrie was going to go to Brooklyn. It was in the tea leaves. There was a lot of rumors going around. A lot of people were like, it's probably going to happen. And we all knew that sooner rather than later that this was going to be the decision, that Kyrie was going to leave Boston and that he was going to sign with Brooklyn. We knew that was going to happen. The big thing, or the big domino, was Kevin Durant. because a lot of people didn't really know how he was going to go. Because some people had him going back to the Golden State Warriors. Some people had him possibly going to the New York Knicks. There was actually a rumor at one time that the Knicks were gonna go. That the Knicks were pursuing Kyrie and KD and have them as the top tag team in New York with the New York Knicks and play in Madison Square Garden. Then there was word about maybe that there was a rumor about the LA Clippers, and then there was a rumor about that there was something recently saying that they were thinking that it was going to be the that Durant and possibly Kawhi Leonard to either the LA Clippers or the New York Knicks. But after not even that much deliberation, and about 45 minutes before the 6 o'clock deadline, word was getting out by multiple sources, from Wojo to Ramona Shelburne to some of the guys from even NBA TV. They were saying Kyrie and Durant to the Nets, and it's official. It's gonna happen. Wow. I mean, you want to talk about a blockbuster that changed everything about the East. That changes everything about the Eastern Conference. For one, Durant's probably going to be sitting out a year because of his injury with the Achilles. So he's not going to play this year. There's no doubt about it. He's sitting out for the year. But when they do get together and they play together, man, they're going to be stars. Brooklyn has put themselves in a very good position to become one of the elite teams in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're going to come out of the East, but they put themselves as elite. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So nothing more to say. Yeah, this was definitely the biggest move of them all. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, double. Kevin Durant, 4-year, $164 million deal. Kyrie Irving, 4-year, $142 million deal with the Brooklyn Nets. The next big move, MF will start it off. We'll get his thoughts on it. Kemba Walker agreeing to a 4-year, $141 million deal with the Boston Celtics. MF, how about it?
Well, this was what the Celtics fans were looking for. A lot of the Celtics fans were like, you know what? Kyrie was a cancer. He was nothing but problems. And basically what Kemba Walker is the exact opposite. He's a team guy. He plays good. He's going to be one of those guys that you're going to love when he plays, and he's going to be a bona fide star. And he already is a star in the NBA. I mean, at the end of the day, I think what Boston did was, look, you needed a necessary piece. Now you got a true point guard that you can work around. And this was a great move, if you think about it, for the Boston Celtics. This is a guy who will definitely be a locker room guy, who's definitely a team player, and he's going to fit in very well in the Boston culture. Boston fans have already fallen in love with Kemba Walker. They are very excited. I know a couple of guys that I know, they were very excited when they found out that Kemba's coming to Boston. For me, I think this was the right move, and this was the perfect fit for Kemba Walker to be aligned with the Boston Celtics. So I thought this was a great move. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's all yours.
Yes, indeed. I mean, right there with you. I mean, a lot of people that I know who are Celtic fans very pleased with this move, obviously, and I mean, this one was on the pipeline for a very long time, and now it's finally come full circle. And what else is there to say? I mean, a necessary move indeed for for the Celtics. I mean, very simply, how well does Kemba Walker fit with the Boston Celtics? How well? I'll tell you how well. I mean, with the departure of Kyrie Irving to Brooklyn, there was an obvious gap at point guard for the Celtics. And of course, Danny Ainge obviously had to do something. And I mean, if I was running things, I mean, this is a move I definitely would have made. I mean, once it became clear that there was a real chance to sign Walker, a very similar player to Kyrie Irving, you absolutely have to make the deal. Looking at the history of the NBA, stars win championships, and Walker is certainly an all-star caliber player coming off a career year, but is he the best fit? We saw last year what the Celtics looked like with a score-first point guard, and the results were less than optimal. There were times when Irving would dribble out the shot clock and end up taking a bad shot, while players like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown watched from the corner. So, we'll wait and see. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how this experiment works out. So, very good on that. All right, let's move on. The next big move, Jimmy Butler agreeing to a 4-year, $142 million deal as part of a sign-and trade with the Miami Heat. The Philadelphia 76ers will receive Josh Richardson from the Heat. The Dallas Mavericks will receive Kelly Olynyk and Derrick Jones Jr. as part of the now 3-team deal for Jimmy Butler. I mean, wow. That's a whole lot to try to make sense of. I mean, a huge pickup for Miami. I mean, they obviously needed a big name. They needed a big star now that D Wade has called it a career. But absolutely spot on here. The question simply is this: who wins the deal? Who won the deal? Well, after really thinking about this, I mean, it's I definitely would have to say the Heat, man. I mean, Miami, well, they also sent Hassan Whiteside to Portland, and the Clippers became a fourth team in this, and yeah, I mean, just insane. I mean, this is actually now a 4-team deal. Hassan Whiteside going to Portland as well, and Jimmy Butler headed to Miami, and Miami made the deal a day after agreeing to the framework of a move that will also bring Jimmy Butler via trade from Philadelphia. The particulars of the trade were still being worked on Monday. One of the most sought-after swing men in free agency. And after arriving from Minnesota in a November trade that capped one of the 2018 calendar year's longest-running sagas, Butler proved crucial to the Sixers' ascension toward the top of the East, hitting clutch shots and keeping the offense humming while providing shutdown defense. In 55 games with the Sixers, Butler averaged about 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals, while shooting 47% overall and 35% from 3. Playing alongside a stacked starting 5 in Philly, particularly after the deadline acquisition of Tobias Harris, Butler averaged fewer than 20 points for the first time since the 14-15 season. But the ball often ended up in Butler's hands during crucial moments, both as an initiator and finisher. A 4-time All-Star who also earned 4 All-Defensive second-team nods in his 8 seasons, Butler wields a two-way skill set that has long been held in high regard, though his always-on intensity has occasionally led to infamous flare-ups. Most notably, Butler's first preseason practice appearance for Minnesota last season lit NBA Twitter on fire with its by-the-minute can you break more updates on scrimmage success and soul-crushing trash talk. So that's really all I have to say about it. So MF, I mean, make sense of all this. This is obviously the most like the biggest conundrum of all the trades. I mean, make sense of it all.
Well, I mean, best way to make sense of it was that Jimmy Butler basically decided that he was gonna leave for and that he wasn't gonna stay or he was gonna re-up with Philadelphia. So after he left, they basically decided that he was gonna go, and he signed with Miami. But the thing is that with a sign and trade, this is something that you're gonna see a lot more nowadays. The sign and trade, because of the fact that it gives them the more maximum money that they can work with and everything else. And on top of that, with the pieces that they're getting, all three teams gets compensated. It's sometimes it's a salary dump to make way so that you can get under the threshold in certain areas. So I mean, it's a salary cap move. It's necessary for the player to get the maximum dollars that they can get, through because of the CBA. So there's a lot to talk about, I wish I could give you a full lesson about it, but I don't think I would do any justice for it. So it's going to be another time, another day for me to kind of break all that down. There's like so much to talk about. It's going to be like a one-day thing. So other than that, it was good. I enjoyed it. Nothing bad to say. But I thought Miami won the trade because they got the best player, which was Jimmy Butler. So nothing more to say, Floyo. Let's move on.
And no doubt about it, he's definitely going to be the star of the team now that D Wade has covered a career. So, all right. Next one, D'Angelo Russell agreeing to a 4-year, $117 million deal with the Golden State Warriors as part of a sign-in trade with the Brooklyn Nets. Treveon Graham and Shabazz Napier are going to Golden State from Brooklyn. Golden State is sending Napier, Graham, and Cash to Minnesota. The Warriors are sending Andre Iguodala and a future first-round pick to Memphis. Yeah. Now, MF, I mean, we talked about it last week when we did our draft recap. You said that Memphis was going to be a team on the rise next season. They just got Andre Iguodala.
Yep. And now,
wow,
there's my proof. They got a star, a champion, and definitely going to be in a very good situation. John Morant is there. They got some young talent. They got a veteran leader in Andre Iguodala. I'm telling you guys, Memphis is for real. I think Memphis is going to make the playoffs next year. I think Memphis is going to be like a number 8 seed. They're going to be a very low 8 seed. They still got some pieces that they need to get. And on top of that, they actually just completed yet another trade today. Memphis actually got Dwight Howard. But hold. Dwight Howard is probably going to get cut. They're going to probably waive him. He hasn't been in the NBA. He's been injured a lot. So Dwight Howard probably will get released. That means he could sign with any team he wants. That's expected to be released, but we'll wait and see. But if Memphis decided that they wanted to keep Dwight Howard, and if Howard would be the old Howard from Orlando, man, what type of team would that look like? That would be scary. Iguodala, Howard, John Morant, and with the young guns that they have, that would have been a playoff caliber team, at least in my mind. But, we'll wait and see. At the end of the day, they did good. They did fine. There's really nothing more to say. Definitely on this case, this was a big pickup. But what also was a big pickup, D'Angelo Russell going to the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors reloads with a core 4 with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, with also Draymond Green, and now D'Angelo Russell. This team is going to be fine. This team, even though I think they're going to take a step backwards because of the injuries and everything else and what happened, I think they're not going to be NBA champions this year. I think they're going to fall short this year, but I do believe they are a playoff team. I think they're a top 4 team, actually, Anthony, to be very honest with you. Golden State cannot be underestimated because of the fact that a lot of the guys that they still got is still going to be there. Jadeveon Clowney re-signed with them. You got most of the guys back that was on the team from a year ago. The only difference is, yes, they did lose Durant. They did lose Andre Iguodala, so you're losing some power there. But I still believe if or when Klay Thompson comes back and he's fully healthy, guys, I'm telling you, this team's going to be really good. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, Memphis. Memphis is going to be a scary team next year. MF mentioned it on the last show. I mean, they're a team on the rise, and now you got Andre Iguodala and those young bucks. Oh my goodness, that's all there is to say on that. And Russell going to Golden State, that obviously makes up for Durant leaving, but of course, Shabazz Napier, we all remember him, a great star from UConn. He's going to Golden State now. Well, he's going to Minnesota now, and another big multi-player deal to make sense of. But I mean, MF touched on everything. I mean, I couldn't agree more, and that's all there is really to say about that. A whole lot to make sense of. Another deal, of course, Al Horford agreeing to a 4-year, $109 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, this makes up for Jimmy Butler leaving for Miami. They get a big name. I mean, here's another guy who was so-so in Boston after those great years he had in Atlanta. And I'm like, man, I love the move for Philly. I mean, this obviously is going to work out fine for them. I mean, I mean, just thinking about this in hindsight, I mean, the most significant change to their roster this season, the addition of 12-year veteran Al Horford signing the 4-year deal. The addition of Horford gives the Sixers a capable and productive backup, a great backcourt, and I definitely love it. And I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry about that. But nonetheless, I mean, here's a guy who, had those great years in Atlanta and then couldn't really do much of anything in Boston. Now he's got the opportunity to be a team leader now. He can lead this team going forward. And, I absolutely love this move for Philly. I don't think it's going to lead to any immediate success. I mean, because you still got Toronto, you still have you got Milwaukee. I mean, those are the 2 top teams right now in the East. I mean, and then you got Brooklyn, obviously. So now that he's not being a second fiddle here, this is a chance for him to to be the leader here, and I think with his veteran presence, he can definitely help Philly down the road. So this is a fantastic signing for Philadelphia. Absolutely, no doubt about it. MF, what do you say?
I agree. No doubt about. Look, Philly was gonna turn it up one way or another. A lot of teams were thinking, "Oh, Philly was gonna do good, this and that, blah 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 blah," and Philly kind of took a step back. A lot of people were like, "Oh, but they lost Jimmy Butler. That's gonna hurt them, this and that." I'm like, I don't think it's gonna hurt them that badly. And sure enough, the next thing we know, boom, went the dynamite like a firecracker in the night. And sure enough, they actually roped in a big fish. Al Horford, if he was fully healthy and everything else, he's a monster player. He's a great player, no doubt about it. When he's on point, when he's in the game, when he's looking great. But at the end of the day, I thought they did the right move to pick him up. And it was a good signing. That's the key. It's a good signing. I'm happy with the result. I'm happy with who they got, and I really got nothing else to say. I'm really I'm thoroughly impressed with what Philly has done, and not only that, but I hope we get into the other bit of news with Philadelphia, because I actually got a very bold prediction in my future. So if Anthony brings it up, I'll do it. If he doesn't, then I'll save it for another night. But Florio, back to you.
It's probably not Mike Scott. It's probably not that.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm gonna make sure I get to that.
You have to go. I'll even help you out. It's if you got Tobias Harris on your plate there, that's when I'll talk about it.
Okay. Just looking over actually I do have him on my docket.
All right. So I'll get into it in a little bit.
Well, actually, all right. Yeah, we'll get into it in a little bit. There are some other big names here that we have to address. Klay Thompson, 5-year, $190 million deal to stay with the Golden State Warriors. I think that was pretty much expected. Chris Middleton with a 5-year, $178 million deal to stay with Milwaukee. But MF, Thompson staying with Golden State, that was expected.
Well, yes, it was expected. There was rumors about maybe that they were going to push for him to go to that they were going to push him to try to go to Los Angeles because of the Michael Thompson connection and everything else. And they were trying to push that narrative on us, but I don't think there was really much levity or much on the way of that type of story. So I knew back in my mind, I'm like, it would be crazy if he goes to somewhere else. I mean, Golden State has been so good to him, the whole 9 yards. I was thinking, you know what, if they're going to do it, and plus there was already talk about them making this big move that they were going to say, the minute that the free agency was going to open, the first team that was going to see him was the Golden State Warriors. That pretty much told you everything you needed it to know. They loved him as a member of the team. They know what type of player he is. He is part of the best backcourt in all of the NBA with him and Steph Curry. They're the bona fide dominating 1-2 punch combination that you get. So at the end of the day, I kind of felt like, all right, this is going to happen. They're going to re-sign him. He's going to move on. And, it was just the right thing to do. It felt right at the time. And he basically was like, you know what? I love being here in Oakland. Well, now they're going to be going to San Francisco starting next year. And they were like, it felt perfect. It felt like the right thing. So at the end of the day, Klay Thompson signing with Golden State, there was a little bit of a pushback by the Lakers trying to pull an ultimate heist, but at the end of the day, it wasn't gonna happen. I think we all kind of knew that he was gonna probably stay in Golden State, but there was there was that doubt that maybe he makes the move for it, but nah. Like you said, once you knew Golden State was gonna offer him the max, it was almost how do you try to stop it? They could guarantee him the 5 years. They can guarantee him the higher amount of money, more money than any other team can get him at. I mean, that was a huge advantage that Golden State had, and just for the mere fact that he loved the team so much that you know, and plus the culture and everything else, it that worked for him. And, you know, hats off to him for sticking with the team.
Yes, indeed. And a trade kicker is simply a contract detail that allows Thompson to get paid more money if he's traded. Just like Steph Curry, Thompson did not receive a no trade clause in his contract, meaning the Warriors can trade either player whenever they want. But the trade kicker makes it less likely that the Warriors will ever trade Thompson, and it sweetens the pot for the 5-time All-Star should Golden State ever force him to call a new place home. If the Warriors trade Thompson, they will have to pay him an additional 15% of what remains on his contract. While Golden State is on the hook for that money, the team trading for Thompson would have to count it against their cap space. A pertinent example is Anthony Davis, who notably waived his $4 million trade kicker when traded to the Lakers to give his new team the requisite money to pursue maximum contract free agents. So that's all there is to say about that. And those are the details on Thompson's contract. It was expected. I mean, they needed this one after losing KD. I mean, that was a big loss for them. But you know, he long voiced his desire to stay long term, even if the shooting guard suffered an ACL injury in Game 6 of the NBA Finals that could sideline him for most, if not all, of next season. The Warriors had no hesitation about offering him a max deal. The Warriors will, of course, they're also going to be tasked with deciding whether or not to bring back DeMarcus Cousins. In addition, Draymond Green is eligible for a supermax contract extension, so that'll be something that the franchise will have to ponder going forward. He's set to miss a large chunk of this upcoming season as he recovers from that torn ACL. He's coming off another stellar season in which he averaged 21.5 points, 4 rebounds, about 2.5 assists. He also remained one of the top shooters in the NBA with a 40% clip from beyond the arc. And yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to say on that. So that was Klay Thompson. Chris Middleton, he's staying with his current team. That's the Milwaukee Bucks. 5-year, $178 million deal to stay in Milwaukee, coming off that magical season that they had. You know, unfortunately, it didn't go the way they would have liked. You know, you remember in the Eastern Conference Finals, they won the first 2 games, and then they lost 4 in a row, and to the Toronto Raptors, and then the rest is history. Toronto went on to win it all for the first time. So, a brand new 5-year deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, and quite frankly, necessary, acceptable. I like it, and I'm glad he's staying because, you know, I'm rooting for Milwaukee. I mean, they were so fun to watch this past year. It's the most fun Bucks team we've seen since the team in 2001. You know, when I believe they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals as well. So, you know, back when they had Ray Allen and all of them. But nonetheless, I mean, a fun player. I mean, him and the Greek Freak, you know, so fun to watch. And, you know, the Bucks obviously put their heads together, and there were 3 reasons why they could not allow him to leave. Number 1, he's an underrated and underappreciated star. He's someone who many leave out of the conversation when talking about the best guards in the East. For a 6'8" guard forward, he moves with the ball really well and always looks for great shots over good jumpers. Yes, he only shot 44% from the field this year, but his shot selection has improved tremendously since he came into the league 7 years ago. He no longer settles for contested threes and instead chooses elbow jumpers or his lethal baseline step back to create space. He's also an exceptional defender. He moves his feet well, has the length to contest any shot from an opponent under 7 feet, and has never been one to back down from the opposing team's best offensive player. You'll find many moments of him guarding top 10 players in the NBA. And that's not a coincidence. His work ethic goes way beyond the minutes he gives Milwaukee on a nightly basis. And his talent as an all-around player is elite, yet unrecognized by the casual fan. Number 2, they weren't going to find another player better for their system. The plan this year was clear as glass. Build the team around the Greek Freak, and when he's not open inside, kick it out for a 3. Nobody benefited more from this than Chris Middleton, who connected on 179 out of 474 threes this year, new career highs for both. Yes, they'll say he settled, but others will say he adapted to the offense and changed his game for the better. And it's not often that you're able to go from a role player to the second option on a championship caliber team. But Middleton took that leap this year from being just another solid player to being one of the best 2 guards in the association. And with that said, they won't find anyone who will thrive in the role nearly as much as Chris Middleton will. And finally, he deserved to be part of the ride. The Bucks' potential ride to the finals in the next 5 to 7 years. They're 12 deep, have a top 5 player in the league who's only 24 years old, and they have the cap space to sign veterans who know how to win ball games. He's been with the Bucks since 2013, when he was shipped to Milwaukee as part of the Brandon Jennings-Brandon Knight trade. And 6 years later, Jennings isn't even in the league, and Brandon Knight hasn't averaged double figures in scoring in 3 years. Middleton has never been in the news for complaining. He's always played the game the right way by never intentionally going after someone, and is viewed as one of the more laid-back players in the league. He's paid his dues, and the last 2 years exemplified that. Whatever it takes, he deserved this extension with the Bucks, and Milwaukee would be wise to go about his free agency or future free agency in any other way. So that's really all I have to say about that. So this was another fantastic signing here. So to me, Milwaukee, along with Toronto, those are the 2 teams to beat in the East. I would have added Brooklyn in there, but that's not until Durant gets there, whenever he does. So nothing more to say. MF, your thoughts on Middleton staying with Milwaukee?
Well, it was necessary. Milwaukee did lose a player or 2 along the way. They're not as strong as they were a year ago, Anthony, but this was one of the focal leaders. This was one of the guys that they needed to resign, and they did it. So for me, yes, you're absolutely right. This is one of the guys that they needed and must have kept. Give him the max contract, which was well-deserved, no doubt about it. And now you just kind of try to put some pieces around him with the Greek Freak, with Giannis, and you put that together, then yeah, I think Milwaukee could make another run at the NBA Finals. I don't think that the only problem is, Anthony, I think they're a top 4 team, but I don't think they're the best team out there. And I'll get into who I think is the best team in the East for next year in a little bit, but I do believe that they are definitely a team to watch, no doubt about it. What Milwaukee did was a remarkable run, and with Giannis Antetokounmpo as the MVP of the league, and Chris Middleton, no doubt about it, is one of those guys that will be he's a perennial all-star, no doubt about it. He deserves to be a perennial all-star, deserves the spot, and hopefully he'll get the opportunity. So nothing more to say. Floyo, it's yours.
Well, we have a ton of names on this list, and we can't go through all because we'd be here all night if we did that.
Yeah, we would.
So I'm just gonna read off the list, and MF, whatever names you want to get into, I mean, feel free. I mean, I already know there's one name you want to get into, and that's Tobias Harris. But,
yes.
So we'll get into that in just a moment, but let me just go by the order of names I have on this list here. I wanted to, formally address, the notable names. So Kristaps Porzingis, 5-year, $158 million deal with Dallas.
I think with the Dallas one, that was necessary. They needed it. That guy, he did come off an injury. That's the only concern I have with Kristaps Porzingis. But if he is the Porzingis of the New York Knicks days, when he came out as a rookie, Dallas has got themselves a bona fide superstar.
All right. Nikola Vucevic, a 4-year, $100 million deal with Orlando.
Move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Okay. Yeah, feel free if you want to chime in. Jamal Murray, 5-year, $170 million contract extension with Denver. Harrison Barnes, Harrison Barnes, formerly out of the UNC, 4-year, $85 million deal with the Sacramento Kings. Marc Gasol, he exercised his $25.6 million deal player option with the NBA champion Toronto Raptors.
Which was necessary, right move to do. He was a big focal part of them going to the NBA Finals. And if for some reason that they do lose Kawhi Leonard, that would be one of the reasons why that you would want him to stay on as well.
Yep, I agree. I 100% agree with you on that, MF. Paul Millsap had his $30 million team option exercised by the Denver Nuggets.
Great move for them. Denver is a dangerous team with some of the signings that they do. Expect them to be in the top 4 in the Western Conference next year.
Brook Lopez, 4-year, $52 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Again, that was something you were alluding to earlier about Milwaukee being one of the top teams, even though I disagree.
Okay. And another one of your old Dukies, MF, JJ Redick, a 2-year, $26.5 million deal with New Orleans.
Good move. Great 3-point shooter. Philly is really gonna miss him. Philly's gonna miss JJ Redick because he was a great 3-point shooter. He was very reminiscent of Kyle Korver. You remember him?
Yep.
Back in the day, and he was he's lights out. Anytime you get him off the curl for a 3-point bomb, man, he was a sharpshooter.
Patrick Beverley, 3-year, $40 million deal with the LA Clippers. And then we have DeAndre Jordan. He signs a 4-year, $40 million deal with Brooklyn. So you got Jordan, and then you also have KD and Kyrie Irving.
And the factor on that one, Anthony, was that Kyrie and KD actually took less money because they were actually offered, they both could have taken $191 million because that would have been the maximum they would have gotten under a 4-year contract. But they both decided to take lesser money to bring in DeAndre Jordan to make a big 3. So we'll see if Jordan is still at the level that he is. A lot of people says he's declining in his play, but I guess we'll wait and see.
Okay, let me see. Where am I here? Okay. Nikola Mirotic agreeing to a deal with Barcelona in the EuroLeague. And how about this? Our old friend, MF, Derrick Rose, 2-year, $15 million deal with Detroit basketball.
Well, that one was expected. There was a lot of rumors about him possibly going to Detroit. There was some people hoping that he was going to go to Chicago, but unfortunately that didn't happen, and we got what we got. So, yeah.
Jonas Valanciunas agreeing to a 3-year, $45 million deal with Memphis. So, of course, we know how high we are on Memphis. Gerald Green, a 1-year deal, terms undisclosed, to return to Houston. Terrence Ross agreeing to a 4-year, $54 million deal to return to Orlando. Al-Farouq Aminu, a 3-year, $29 million deal with Orlando. Here's a name we haven't heard in a while. Ricky Rubio, 3-year, $51 million deal with Phoenix. So he's going there. Trevor Ariza, 2-year, $25 million deal with the Sacramento Kings. Malcolm Brogdon, 4-year, $85 million deal with Indiana. Indiana will send a 1st-round pick and 2 future 2nd-round picks to Milwaukee as part of the sign and trade for Brogdon. Bojan Bogdanovic agreeing to a 4-year, $73 million deal with Utah. I'm sure Albraderson's got to be happy about that. Thaddeus Young, he agrees to a 3-year, $41 million deal with Chicago. Rodney Hood, a 2-year, $16 million deal to return to Portland. Thomas Bryant agreeing to a 3-year, $35 million deal with Washington. All right, MF. Now we're going to get into this because I know you've been chomping at the bits for this one. Tobias Harris, 5-year, $180 million deal to return to Philly. What's your bold prediction?
Well, here's the thing. I know a lot of people were talking about how Milwaukee is the team. I think with this move, with the Al Horford move, which I don't think we got to yet. No, we did talk about Al Horford.
You just did.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. With the Al Horford move, with Tobias Harris, with all the factors that they still got from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, I think Philly is coming out of the East next year as the Eastern Conference champions.
Wow.
I got Philly right now as the Eastern Conference champions playing for the NBA, playing for the Larry O'Brien Trophy for next year. That's my bold prediction. The Sixers as the Eastern Conference champions and representing the East in the NBA Finals.
Something they have not done since Allen Iverson took them to the final. Since Allen Iverson and Larry Brown took them to the finals back in 2001 before losing to the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, of course. Mike Scott, not to be confused with the old Houston Astro pitcher from back in the day. This Mike Scott agrees to a 2-year, $9.8 million deal. He's going back to Philly. He's staying with Philly. Jeremy Lamb agreeing to a 3-year, $31.5 million deal with Indiana. Damari Carroll, a 2-year, $13 million deal with San Antonio. Nerlens Noel agrees to a deal to return to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Julius Randle, a 3-year, $63 million deal with New York. George Hill, 3-year, $29 million deal to return to Milwaukee. Taj Gibson signs a 2-year, $20 million deal with New York. Ed Davis, 2-year, $10 million deal with Utah. Mike Muscala agrees to return to OKC. Mario Hezonja agrees to a 1-year league minimum deal with the Blazers. Robin Lopez agrees to a deal with Milwaukee, so he'll be reunited with twin brother Brook. Bobby Portis, Status Terrell's old friend from the University of Arkansas, he agrees to a 2-year, $31 million deal with the Knicks, as does Reggie Bullock, Bullock's fifth cousin, agreeing to a 2-year, $21 million deal with the Knicks as well. Corey Joseph agreeing to a 3-year, $37 million deal with Sacramento. Ish Smith, 2-year, $12 million deal with Washington. Tomas Satoransky, 3-year, $30 million deal with the Chicago Bulls as part of a sign and trade with the Washington Wizards. Another UNC prodigy, Wayne Ellington, 2-year, $16 million deal with the Knicks. Michael Carter-Williams, a 1-year deal with the Orlando Magic. Seth Curry, Steph's younger brother, he agreed to a 4-year, $32 million deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Doc Rivers' son, Austin Rivers, 2-year deal with the Houston Rockets. Troy Daniels, 1-year, $2.1 million deal with the Lakers. Elfrid Payton, 2-year, $16 million deal with the Knicks. Maxi Kleber agrees to a 4-year, $35 million deal with the Mavs. I think we have another notable signing here. I heard a lot of hullabaloo about this. I don't know if MF wants to get into this one, but we'll see. Enes Kanter, 2-year, $10 million deal with the Celtics.
Yeah, that was kind of a big deal that was that happened. A lot of people were very excited. Enes Kanter most notably got demanded to get traded out of the New York Knicks, left New York, went to Portland, had a pretty good season with them, and then was a free agent, but now decided, to go to Boston, which I thought was the right move. This is a good guy, good rebounder, good at the block. So he basically fills the gap that was left behind by Al Horford. So, no, I thought Boston did all right with this move. I thought this was a solid move for Boston and a good pickup.
All right, fair enough. JJ Barea, a 1-year veterans minimum deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Richaun Holmes, 2-year, $10 million deal with Sacramento. Edmund Sumner agrees to a 3-year deal with Indiana. Wesley Matthews agrees to a deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. Frank Kaminsky, you remember him from out of the University of Wisconsin. He signed a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Phoenix Suns. Matt Thomas, coming over from the EuroLeague to sign a 3-year, $4.2 million contract with the NBA champion Toronto Raptors. Kevon Looney, a 3-year, $15 million deal to return to Golden State. Isaiah Thomas, you remember the young Isaiah Thomas, 1-year deal with the Washington Wizards. Anthony Tolliver, a 1-year, $2.6 million deal with the Portland Trail Blazers. Dorian Finney-Smith agrees to a 3-year, $12 million deal with Dallas. Daniel Theus, a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Celtics. James Ennis agrees to a 2-year, $4.1 million deal with Philly. Willie Cauley-Stein agrees to a deal with the Golden State Warriors. Brad Wanamaker, 1-year deal with the Celtics. Ryan Arcidiacono. Yes, I remember this young man. He was out of Villanova. He's going to Chicago. 3-year, $9 million deal. Glenn Robinson, probably the young Glenn Robinson, I'm sure.
Yes.
2-year deal with Golden State. Noah Vonleh, a 1-year deal with Minnesota. Jeff Green agrees to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal with Utah. Jared Dudley, a 1-year, $2.6 million deal with the Lakers. Luke Cornett, a 2-year deal with Chicago. Emmanuel Mudiay, a 1-year deal with Utah. Wilson Chandler, 1-year deal with Brooklyn. Rodney Magruder, 3-year, $15 million deal with the Clippers. Darius Miller, 2-year, $14.25 million deal to return to New Orleans. Boban Marjanovic, 2-year, $7 million deal with Dallas. Markieff Morris agreeing to a deal with Detroit. TJ McConnell, a 2-year, $7 million deal with the Indiana Pacers. Jake Layman, 3-year, $11.5 million deal with Minnesota as part of a sign-in trade with Portland. And the final name on the list, Raul Neto, agrees to a 1-year deal with Philadelphia. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of names.
Oh, yeah.
So, so in the grand scheme of things, MF, I mean, you heard all the names, you heard all the deals and the whole 9 yards. I mean, which are the ones? I mean, who are the winners, losers? You know, who really stood out to you?
Well, right now, Utah's standing out. Denver is standing out. Obviously, you got to say Brooklyn. Brooklyn, on the opening day, the first day of it, they absolutely went bonkers. I mean, to absolutely steal and make a sign and to sign Kyrie, to sign Durant, to sign DeAndre Jordan. When you got those three right out of the gate, boom, boom, boom. And I mean, that really like stunned the NBA world. We all were like, what in the world was this? How did this happen? At the end of the day, they definitely won it. I love what Utah's been doing quietly, nothing big. Denver, very quietly, nothing big on their part. Philly, again, I thought the Tobias Harris re-signing, getting out Horford. Yes, you lost Jimmy Butler. Yes, you lost JJ Redick, but I think they're better off, more cultural than anything else. I think they've done very well for themselves. Golden State, pretty quiet for the most part, but they got the guys that they needed to get. Klay Thompson staying, D'Angelo Russell getting them in the sign-in trade. That's great for them. So they're going to be in a great position. And still, the biggest hurdle right now and the biggest story that we're still waiting on is Kawhi Leonard. That is going to change everything about the NBA. If he goes to the Lakers are the odds-on favorites to win the NBA title. No doubt about it. If Toronto gets him, then obviously Toronto will become the favorite in the East to possibly repeat and go to the NBA Finals. Then it becomes a neck-and-neck race between them and Philly. I think Milwaukee will be there, but I don't think they got the horses to make it to the NBA Finals. Then obviously you got a lot of other players on top. So, I mean, those were the teams that kind of stood out right out of the gate for me. Now I'm just waiting for that last domino to drop, and that's Kawhi Leonard.
Yes. Yes. Kawhi Leonard, obviously. I know they're keeping anybody who's anybody is keeping a close eye on it. I mean, all the major networks have been keeping an eye on it. Nothing as of yet. But if we do hear anything, we will definitely share that right here on Strictly Sports.
We were hoping for the decision to happen tonight, and I know they said that it was supposed to happen tonight, but Kawhi is not pulling the trigger yet. He's still deciding, and that from what I know from sources, they said it's a 2-horse race. They said it's down to the Lakers and it's down to Toronto. The longer this goes, and Anthony, I'm just going to be very honest, the longer this goes, I think it's going to end up being that he stays in Toronto. And that I there's something about this that, because I haven't heard him yet, and he's not a guy who likes the any of this stuff to break out or anything like this. He kind of likes to be, he likes to control the narrative, which is you're more than more than happy if he does. But at the end of the day, I kind of have this feeling like it's gonna go that way. So there's really nothing more to say.
Yeah, nothing more to say, indeed. I mean, Brooklyn obviously stands out to me. Memphis stands out. Golden State. I mean, of course, Philly, obviously, with the moves they made. So many others. I mean, Anthony Davis going to the Lakers. I mean, that's a big move right there. And, so much to make sense of. I mean, I hope we, did this justice here tonight. I mean, it's very tough, to make sense out of all this. So, but hopefully we did our best, and that's all there is to say right there. So, so that's really all we can say about that. That's the list of notable transactions as of right now, and that's pretty much it. So we're just gonna move right on, and we're just gonna move on to the grand finale, if you will, and that of course is the Major League Baseball Power Rankings, and I'll tell you what, based on some of the results that I've been seeing here. These rankings definitely have changed from my pre-show power rankings that I do, early in the day on Fridays, and especially with who the number one team could be. I mean, there is one that I had in mind, but that I think that's going to change now, and if this result holds up, that's going to make me a very happy man, if you know what I mean. So, because it'll definitely benefit. So that's all I can say on that. So right now, and here's the thing: it has been quite some time since we've done these rankings. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we had to cancel the show because of special plans beyond MF and Bullock's controls. So, and then we had to do the makeup show last week, which was the NBA draft. So we haven't done a power ranking since June 14th. So it's been a few weeks. So, MF, I want to start it off with you at number 10, if that's okay. Who's your number 10 standout right now?
Oh boy. Let's see. My number 10 to start out, I'm gonna start with. Let me see. Actually, Tony. Well, all right. I'm gonna start with the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh my God, I'm too NBA right now. I need a detox. Milwaukee Brewers. That's my number 10. I just look 5-5 in the last 10 games. They did win. 47-42 overall is their record, And to start it off, well, I guess I'll go from last week. They did split a 4-game series against they split a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. Then they lost 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners. Won 2 out of 3 against the won 2 out of 3 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Then man, they had a rough stretch. 4th of July week, and they got crushed, losing 3 out of 4 to the Cincinnati Reds. Won tonight against Pittsburgh. Then, basically, they got Pittsburgh. They got to finish out the series against Pittsburgh, and then it's All-Star break for them. So they just got to try to win these next 3 games. Get some momentum on their side going into the All-Star break. So nothing more to say, Anthony. I'll give it to you.
Yeah. I had Milwaukee as an honorable mention. I think. I could be wrong on that, but I'll say it like this. My top 2 are no brainers.
Yeah, no, top 2 are no brainers.
Yeah. Well, there's one team that I think is in danger. So, but the 2 teams that I do have, yeah, there's no question about it. Heck, I could even say top 3 are no brainers. So that's really all I can say on that, based on results and everything else that go down. So yeah, I think I have Milwaukee as an honorable mention there, MF. But I can certainly understand where you're coming from with them. That NL Central, all 5 teams are within 4 games of each other. Cincinnati, 4 games out. You never know. They could end up somehow stealing that thing. You never know.
It is the most out of all the races right now. To be real honest with you, that one right there is the most chaotic. Even honestly, AL East is out of reach. The Central, if Cleveland can make a run, they could probably catch Minnesota, but everybody else is all double digits behind. Yeah, no, right now the NL Central is the most chaotic going into the All-Star break, and that's a wow for it to be that close.
Where the last place team is within 4.
4. Yeah, they're 4 out.
Well, and here's the thing with Cleveland. Cleveland's only 6 out.
Yeah.
So Minnesota's been struggling. 4-6 in the last 10. Minnesota's a dud team this week. Hard to believe, but it's true. So we have to, put them on the burner for right now. So with all this being said, I think I've just about figured out where I want to go with this. So just about there. I got 7. I just need to figure out. It's got to figure out 8, 9, and 10, and then I'll just about get back to you. That's actually Milwaukee. Yes, Milwaukee is an honorable mention. That is correct. So they're like my number 11 in a sense. So I'm just gonna park it there. So all right, I got this now. All right, I'm happy with this one. I'm ready to go. So yep. This is it. So
is it?
Yep, I got it.
Is the one game that we were talking about, has it gone final?
I got a feeling it's going to, because of what it is. The team that I originally had at number 1 at the start of the day, they're on the verge of losing. And
well, it's not. Well, all right. I think I got the team that you're talking about. Yeah, they're down. They're down to their final out. So I'm just give me your number 10. I'm gonna keep a close eye on this, and if it does happen, then I'll confirm it in just a minute.
Yeah, they were my number one at the start of the day, but if they lose because of records and streaks and all that, they're still a top 5 team. So that's all there is to say on that. My number 10, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Winners of 1 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10, 45-44. They meet the criteria. They're 500 or better. You know, that's how we roll in the rankings. They're 9th in batting average. They're 11th in runs scored. They're 16th in WHIP, and they're 22nd in ERA. Of course, you know the sad story that came out this week. A young pitching prospect passing away, Tyler Skaggs. Very, very big story this week in the world of Major League Baseball, and our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences go out to that young man's family and teammates and all that. Very emotional scene at that conference. Mike Trout, I mean, you saw how emotional he is. It's not often we see him that way, but we saw Mike Trout get very emotional. Since our last rankings, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Rays. They won 3 out of 4 from Toronto, lost 2 out of 3 to St. Louis. They swept a 2-game interleague series with Cincinnati. They lost 3 out of 4 to Oakland, and then won 2 out of 3 from Texas. It was supposed to be 4, but 1 got rained out. And they went into Houston tonight, and they beat the Astros 5-4. Very big deal right there. One of the Saturday night games of the week on Fox tomorrow night. 2 more against the Stros this weekend, and then of course it's the All-Star break, and next week they'll have the Seattle Mariners coming in. So we will not have a power rankings next week. That I know for a fact because, you know, All-Star break is going to be way too tough. So just a little forewarning. So that's really all there is to say on that. So Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, they come in at number 10. Number 9, it goes to the Philadelphia Phillies. Also 1 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10. Better record, so that's why they go ahead. 46-42. 6 games behind MF's Braves in the NL East. We'll get to them in a little bit. Philly, 14th in runs scored. They're 19th in ERA. Well, 18th in batting average, then 19th in ERA, and then they're 21st in the WHIP. Since the last rankings, they lost 2 out of 3 to MF's Braves, including a 15-1 beatdown on Father's Day. And I know MF was very pleased with that. Then they got swept 3 in a row by Washington. And then they got swept by the Marlins. But then they bounced back in a big way with a 4-game sweep of the Mets at home. And then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dud Marlins. Lost 2 out of 3 to MF's Braves. And then they beat the Mets tonight, 7-2. Another Saturday night game of the week against the Mets tomorrow. 2 more against them this weekend, All-Star break. And then next week, the suddenly surprisingly hot Nationals are coming in. So that's a big series right there. Bryce Harper against his former team. So we'll wait and see how that turns out. So with all that being said, Philadelphia Phillies come in at number 9. So MF, how about it?
Okay. First off, Anthony, just to give you a heads up, that team that we were talking about, they did lose. So yeah. So your rankings are now kind of more on the up and up. Okay, cool. I agree with that. I could see where you're going with that. You know, I could give this to the Phillies as well. At number 9. At number 9. I agree with what you said there. You know, you make a valid point there. And there's really nothing more to say, so we'll just move right along on that. Give me a minute so that I can get my thing up as well. Here we go. Number 8, I'm going to go with Atlanta. I'm going to go Atlanta Braves. I mean, okay, currently right now, we're in a rain delay. The rain delay right now against the Miami Marlins. Atlanta is currently ahead. This is a big moment. We could actually basically stay ahead, 6.5 up on Philadelphia, and it would be 7 up on it would be 7 on the Washington Nationals. The Nats lost. That was a huge loss for them today. They were very hot lately. They were red hot, winners of 4 in a row prior to that, and then they dropped. That's going to knock them off the top line on our power rankings as well. That was a devastating loss, to say the very least. So that's
MF,
why.
I got a breaking news here via the Atlanta Braves Twitter. The tarp is off. Approximate restart time for tonight's game, 12:10.
All right. Well,
And they're
we're gonna start at the top of the 8th because that's the inning that we're gonna finish out,
They're scoreless.
and we're scoreless. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it was a pitching duel, no doubt about it. So 12-10. So we hope we'll wait and see. So nothing more to say. Yeah. My number 8 is the Atlanta Braves. So Anthony, go.
Slight disagreement here, MF. I got Atlanta just a smidge higher, if I'm going to be honest with you. My number 8 is actually the Texas Rangers. Texas.
Oh, okay. No, I see it. Well,
also winners of 1 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10. Atlanta just a little better, so that's why I give Atlanta the benefit of the doubt. Texas comes in with a 47-40 record. They're 7.5 behind Houston in the West, half game behind Oakland for the second spot. They won 1 in a row, and they're 6-4 in their last 10 as well. They're 7th in runs scored. They are 14th in batting average. They're 20th in the ERA. They're 23rd in the WHIP. And since the last rankings, the Rangers won 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati in Cincinnati. They split a 4-game series with Cleveland. Then they won 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. A 3-game sweep of the Detroit Tigers in Detroit. They did lose 2 out of 3 to Tampa. And then they lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels. Supposed to be 4, but 1 got rained out. And right now they're playing the Minnesota Twins, and they're actually getting bum rushed right now. They're down big. They're down 12-5 after the 7th. So unless something out of the ordinary happens, I don't see them coming back. 2 more against Minnesota in Minnesota this weekend, All-Star break, and then starting next Thursday night, a big 4-game series with the Houston Astros at home. Chance for them to gain some ground in the AL West. So see how that goes. So Texas Rangers, they come in at my number 8. Moving on to number 7, MF. This is actually where I have your Atlanta Braves at number 7.
Okay, fair enough.
Winners of 2 in a row, 6-4 in their last 10 as well, 52-36. Second best record in the National League behind the Dodgers, and we'll get into them in a little bit. 6-game lead over Washington and Philadelphia in the NL East. Your 2 biggest threats, MF, and you got a nice cushion on both of them. They're 5th in runs scored. They're 8th in batting average. They're 11th in ERA, 19th in the WHIP. Since the last rankings, they won 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, won 2 out of 3 from the Mets, won 2 out of 3 from the Nationals, split a 4-game series with Ward's Cubs, 2-2, won 2 out of 3 from the Mets at Citi Field, won 2 out of 3 from the Phillies this week, including on the 4th of July. They're in that scoreless delay with the Marlins right now. They have 2 more against the Marlins this weekend, All-Star break, and then next week. And then you guys have a 6-game road trip. And you go into San Diego against the Padres, and then you go to Milwaukee against the Brewers, and you don't see the home fans again until the 18th. But the Padres, you're going to San Diego next weekend. So there's that. The young talent's doing great, and it was just announced, I believe yesterday or so, that Ronald Acuna Jr., MF, he's going to be participating in Monday night in the Home Run Derby. So,
I'm very excited for that, yes.
Yep, a part of that new bracket system. And they have this big thing where you can enter a bracket and you have a chance to win. If all goes well, you could end up pocketing possibly a cool $250,000. So
woohoo!
What a payday that would be. So So that's all I can say on that. So if you're interested, I encourage you to go for it. I might even try it myself. So, home run derby, one of my favorite times of the year, especially with the All-Star game. MF and I cannot wait. Cleveland, first time in 22 years, 1997. Interesting backstory about that. 97, it was in broad daylight. They used to tape the home run derby, and then they would air it on ESPN. But this time around, it'll be in the dark of night. It'll be live on Monday night, going head to head with Monday Night Raw. So that should be very exciting, especially after what we saw on Raw this past week. So it's going to be. I'm excited about Monday night, the home run derby, and Monday Night Raw moving in the right direction in Newark at the Prudential Center. So it's going to be a fun Monday night. I can't wait for it. So that's all there is to say about that. That was the big news I wanted to share. So MF, your Braves come in at number 7, and I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing your boy Acuna in the home run derby.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, they said that he started practicing for the home run derby today. They actually gave him the lot. He actually before they started the game against the Marlins, he actually got a chance to do a little bit of get an opportunity to get a feel of the home run derby. So they had they gave him the setup. They gave him with the mound that has the little netting in front, nothing behind him, and he was just launching balls and doing it in a time limit format. So he got the feel for it today. Maybe they'll give him another session of it tomorrow to get him familiar, and then hopefully he'll get a chance to at least get a little bit of some practice in before he does it for real on Monday night at Progressive Field. But very exciting to hear that Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be playing in the home run derby for the Braves, representing the Atlanta Braves in the home run derby. Very excited.
All right. So with that being said, who's your number 7? Did we do your number 7, MF?
Actually, I agree with you, Florio. It's Atlanta. Number 6. I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. LA Dodgers. The same team that we're talking about right now, the LA Dodgers. Well, I hate to do this, but we actually had a scary moment that just happened a few minutes ago. I don't know if you heard this, Anthony, or if you heard the news about this, but apparently a 6.9 earthquake just rocked Los Angeles. So it not only affected the Dodgers. The Dodger game has been delayed temporarily. I don't know how long that delay is going to be, but it rocked it so bad that there was even some tremor shock that actually affected in Las Vegas. As if you guys know, they were doing the NBA Summer League tonight in Vegas, and they have just stopped all games. All remaining games have been postponed at the Thomas and Mack Center. So yeah, wow, Mother Nature brings a wrath of fury on this late Friday night when it comes to sports. Holy cow! But I'm gonna give Dodgers the number 6 in the power rankings.
Yeah, I see it right here on my end. Major earthquake rattles Dodger Stadium and NBA Summer League. 6.9 magnitude earthquake in both cities on Friday. Yeah, we definitely will. We send our thoughts and our prayers out to all affected by that. I mean, hopefully it's nothing like Oakland 30 years ago. That's all I know. So, but we're definitely keeping you. We'll definitely keep an eye on this, and if anything comes out, we'll definitely get it to you as soon as we can. But for right now, getting back to the rankings, yes, Los Angeles Dodgers, you got an MF. You are right. They are our number 6. Winners of 4 in a row, 6-4 in the last 10. Best record in all of baseball, 60-29. 14.5 game lead over their closest competitor, that is the Colorado Rockies. The Dodgers lead the league in WHIP. They're 2nd in ERA, and they're 6th in batting average and runs scored. Since the last rankings, they won 3 out of 4 from the Cubs, won 3 out of 4 from the Giants, a 3-game sweep of the Rockies. They did lose 2 out of 3 to Arizona, and then they split a 4-game series with Colorado. And then they won a 2-game series with Arizona. They won the first of a 4-game series with San Diego, 5-1 last night. I think play might have resumed here with the game here because it says that they're tied 2-2 with the Padres. So that's in the bottom half of the 6th inning. 2 more games against the Padres this weekend, All-Star break, and then after that, MF. Oh, are you ready next weekend? We got ourselves a World Series rematch next week. The Dodgers and the Sox at Fenway. 3-game series next weekend. Oh, yeah. Nationally televised. Well, the Friday game, obviously not, but Saturday night, Fox will have it. And then Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, July 14th. And that'll go head-to-head with the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So that'll make for an interesting Sunday night for sure. So, yeah, Cody Bellinger tearing it up. And that's all there is to say on that. Dodgers looking very good. They've been to the World Series each of the last 2 years. They keep doing what they're doing. We could end up seeing them there for a 3rd straight year. So that's all there is to say on that. And, of course, I think Atlanta's their biggest threat right now. So that's all I can say on that. So the Dodgers, channeling my inner Vin Scully, they come in at number 6. Number 5, this is... Well, I just got to do a minor reshuffle because I thought it was going to change the number a little bit. But this is where I'm going to have, I believe, the Houston Astros. Am I right on this? Yeah, it's Houston. Because we have the 7-3 in the last 10. They lost. The other team won. So, yeah. So they're still 8-2 in their last 10. That other team. Okay. So.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, it's Houston. Houston Astros, number 5, 7-3 in the last 10. They lost the last game. One of the 3 best teams in the American League. They're right in that thick of that race. 55-33. And they're 2nd in WHIP. They're 4th in batting average. They're 4th in ERA. 13th in runs scored. And I'm just trying to, okay, there we go. Try to get the numbers here. Since the last rankings, they won 2 out of 3 from Toronto. They were swept in an interleague series by the Cincinnati Reds, 3 in a row. Then they would lose 3 out of 4 to my Yankees. That was awesome. And then they did lose, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to Pittsburgh, but then they bounced back. A 3-game sweep of the Seattle Mariners. That's what they needed. And then they swept a 2-game interleague series in Colorado against the Rockies. And then they lost to the Angels tonight, 5-4. They have 2 more against the Angels this weekend, then the All-Star break, and then starting Thursday, they go to Texas for that big 4-game series with the Rangers. So the Stros, it's been an up and down year for the Stros. I mean, 1 minute they're hot, the next minute they're cold, and then the next minute they're hot, they're cold. Then they were cold for a while, but now they're starting to heat up again. Right time of the year to do it. Because, now that we're getting into the All-Star break, then once the All-Star break comes, then we get to start thinking about our favorite part. Playoffs, pennant races.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy.
Actually, I think the real fun begins is on July 31st because that's when the trading deadline.
Yes.
The Major League Baseball trading deadline goes down, and then after
that on the future show.
Yeah, and then right after, I think after that, then you got then it's the sprint. That's when August and September, you literally get the sprint to the hunt of Red October. And once you get there, and yes, I did steal a bit of the, I steal a little bit of that so-called movie quote there, but once you get into that, that's when the real chaos begins. Because you win that, oh man, That's all I say. It's all man. So no, you're absolutely right, Anthony. Houston is my number 5 as well. You pretty much touched on everything, so I'm not gonna get into any more. Number 4, their counterparts in the NL West, I should say in the AL West, which is the Oakland A's. Hey, how about that, man? 48-40. They're still there. Yes, 7.5 out in the division. You're like, why would you give them that benefit of the doubt? They're one game. They're one game out of the wild card. They're right there, man. They got a shot. So no, I got really nothing more to say. I'm happy about it. Number 4, Oakland A's. Anthony, go.
Yep, it's Oakland. Oakland 7-3 in their last 10, but they won a game. So that's why we have to put them ahead of Houston. 48-40, 7 games, 7 full games, not 7.5. But nonetheless, they're 7th in ERA and WHIP. They're 9th in runs scored, and they're 17th in batting average. And since the last rankings, they lost 2 out of 3 to Seattle, 3-game sweep of the Baltimore Orioles, split a 4-game series 2-2 with the Tampa Bay Rays. They swept a 2-game interleague series in St. Louis, won 3 out of 4 in Anaheim against the Angels. They won 2 out of 3 from Minnesota. And right now, they're in Seattle right now against the Mariners, and they lead 3-2 in the bottom half of the 7th. So we'll see how that goes. They have 2 more in Seattle this weekend, and then All-Star break, and then when play resumes, they will host the Chicago White Sox. Chicago White Sox will come in for 3. So nothing more to say on that. Oakland, one of those sleeper teams that we got to watch out for. You remember they made it last year. They made it to the wild card round, but I believe they lost to the Yanks. So that's all there is to say there. So really nothing more to say. Oakland A's, they come in at number 4. Number 3, how about the Cleveland Indians? Where did they come from? Winners of 4 in a row, 7-3 in the last 10, 48-38. They're within 6 of Minnesota in the AL Central. We thought Minnesota was going to run away with it, but not so fast. Minnesota's been struggling, and Cleveland's been catching fire. So the Indians are 4th in WHIP. They're 6th in ERA, and they're 24th in batting average and runs scored. Solid pitching, hitting, okay, I guess. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe one of their players is in the home run derby. Yes, Carlos Santana. Not to be confused with our favorite guitarist of all time, MF. But
Yep.
This Carlos Santana, he's going to be in the home run derby. He's going to be going up against Alonso from the Mets. Ooh, that's going to be scary. By the way, your boy Acuna Jr., he's not going to have an easy task either. He's going to be facing the upstart Josh Bell from Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So, and then of course you got Christian Yelich. He's going to go up against Vladimir the Terrible's son. Whoa, Vladimir.
And trust me, his son rakes too, man. The apple didn't fall off the tree that much with Vladimir the Terrible. His son is just as terrible as he is when it comes to home runs. He can rake some. He can rake. I think there was one where he blasted one like 400 something feet. Like it was like a 480 home run. Like he rocked it a long distance.
Indeed. And Vlad Jr. will be going up against Christian Yelich, and then you got Alex Bregman of the Stros against Josh Peterson of the Dodgers. So it's going to be a very fun home run derby on Monday night, and I especially love what they've done with it over the last few years. That bracket style made it a whole lot more fun. But anyway, getting back to the Cleveland Indians, since our last rankings, a 3-game sweep of the Detroit Tigers, outscoring them 25-6 in those games. Split a 4-game series with the Texas Rangers in Texas, and then another 3-game sweep of the Detroit Tigers, this time at home. Won 2 out of 3 from the Kansas City Royals. The only blemish, they did lose 2 out of 3 to the dud Orioles. Back-to-back games, they lost 13-0, 2 games in a row. Wow. Okay. They salvaged the 3rd game against the Orioles, but then they bounced back in a big way. 3-game sweep of the dud Royals in Kansas City. And starting tomorrow, a brief 2-game interleague series, the Battle of Ohio with the Cincinnati Reds, All-Star break, and then right out of the gate, oh boy, huge series, major implications. The Minnesota Twins are coming in. 3-game series. That's a big one. Big one. That's all there is to say on that. Great chance to gain some more ground. So you got to struggle. If the Twins keep on struggling and you keep staying hot, golden opportunity. That's all there is to say on that. So nothing more to say. Santana and the Derby should be fun. So Cleveland Indians crack the top 3. They're number 3. How about it, MF?
I agree. Cleveland top 3, no doubt about it. You basically said everything that you were going to say. And now we are in the top 2. Now, this was very crucial because going in, we had the New York Yankees at number 2. However, just to note, the number 1 was originally gonna be the Washington Nats.
Yes.
But due to the fact that the Nationals has dropped the game, they lost tonight to the Kansas City Royals.
Oofa.
The Washington Nationals went from number 1 to number 2. They drop out of the top spot. That's why I said about the top line. That's what happened. The Nats fell. And you know what? They were doing pretty well before that loss. And it was a costly loss, no doubt about it. But they were doing really well lately. How well are we talking? Well, all right. If you guys are gonna talk about the Nats, let's talk about them. Washington Nationals overall, 8-2 in the last 10 games. They did lose tonight to them, but here's what they did, and this was dating back to last week. Won 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers. Won 3, got a sweep, a full sweep over the Miami Marlins. Of course, the loss tonight, that definitely hurt. But then they got to finish out that series. But when they come back from the All-Star break, oh my goodness, they run right into the Philadelphia Phillies. 3-game set in Philly. Oof. Get ready for a war. Then they got the Baltimore Orioles. Then they got to go against Atlanta in a 4-game set. Man, that's going to be fun. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. Washington Nationals number 2, 45-42, 8-2 in the last 10. Lost tonight. If they had won tonight, they would have been number 1. No doubt about it. Since the last rankings, they split a 4-game series with Arizona, 3-game sweep of Philadelphia. Well, it was supposed to be 5 games, but 2 got rained out. They did lose 2 out of 3 to MF's Braves. 3-game sweep of Miami in Miami. Then won 2 out of 3 from Detroit in an interleague series. The 3-game sweep of the Marlins. And they lost tonight to the Royals 7-4 in 11 innings. Oh, by the way, they stranded 19 men tonight. 19 got stranded. Oofa. So 2 more against the Royals this weekend. And then, of course, that big series with the Phillies in Philadelphia next weekend, starting Friday. A Saturday night game on Fox. And a Sunday afternoon game on TBS. So the TBS Sunday games are coming back. So that's all there is to say about that. And then that little interesting interleague series with Baltimore. And then, of course, that big series with Atlanta, July 18th to the 21st. We'll get into that in the coming weeks. So nothing more to say. I mean, it's been a rough year for Washington, but starting to play their best ball at the right time. But that Royal loss cost them number 1. And coming in at number 1, oh, yeah. I'm very pleased about this. It's my team. It's the New York Yankees. They're your number 1 this week. Best record in the American League, 57-29, an 8.5 game lead over Tampa Bay in the East. They've won 3 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10 games. They lead the league in runs scored. They're 7th in batting average. They're 9th in the WHIP. They're 10th in ERA. And what else is there to say? I mean, since the last rankings, they split a 4-game series with the White Sox, 3-game sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays at the stadium, and then also at the stadium, they won 3 out of 4 from the Houston Astros, another 3-game sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays, and MF. How about those 2 games against the Sox in London? Oh gosh!
What a time to be alive, to see the Yankees and the Red Sox, the greatest rivalry, go across the pond and to delight the fans at London Stadium.
2 5-star classics.
It was, I gotta say it, for the first time ever, for them to do a game there and to have it turn out the way that it did, MLB, applaud yourselves. And now think about this: next year, the Cubs and the Cardinals in London.
Wow. That's
God, sign me up for those games.
I mean, boy, howdy, did we have fun on that Saturday game, let me tell you. I mean, 17-13 and then 12-8 on the Sunday. I mean, that was crazy. We usually start our baseball coverage with the All-Star stuff, but we made an exception this year because we wanted that one.
Oh, yeah.
And the Saturday game only because ESPN had the other one.
Yep.
But boy, howdy, did we have fun on that 17-13. I mean, Yanks jump out to a 6-0 lead. You thinking, oh, it's over. Sox come back and get 6 right after. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. It felt like a playoff game. That's all there is to say on that. Both of them. But nonetheless, the Yanks won both those games. They split a 2-game interleague series with the Mets, Subway Series. But how about the last 2 games with Tampa Bay? Crazy games. They go to extras, and the Yanks explode. The Judge was very instrumental in the win tonight. So 2 for 2 in this big 4-game series with the Rays in Tampa. Sunday afternoon on TBS, they'll be there. So All-Star break for them, and then they come out. They'll be back at the stadium, and they'll have the Toronto Blue Jays coming in. And then the Rays come back in for a 4-gamer. And then a 3-game interleague series with the Rockies coming down the road. And then, of course, a big series in Minnesota at the tail end of the month. So that's a very big series right there. Major playoff implications at that point. So, but nonetheless, I cannot be any more impressed with my team. I mean, no, for the most part this year, we've had no Aaron Judge, no Giancarlo Stanton, but those young talents, man. Your Gleyber Torreses, your Gio Urshela's, and all these other young talents. Gary Sanchez stepping up at the right time. We just got Gregorius back. Unfortunately, Stanton got hurt again. He's going to be out for a bit. But the Judge is catching fire again. Luke Voigt stepping up. CC Sabathia has discovered the fountain of youth. And I've waited 10 long years for this, man. I'm excited. This is the most excited I've been about a Yankee team in 10 years. And the team 10 years ago was right around this mark. So could lightning strike twice? Could this be the moment that me and my fellow Yankee fans have waited 10 long years for? Is this the year that we finally get number 28? They keep playing like this.
It's possible. It's possible. They got, I mean, they just basically, we got to see if the injury bug does not cripple the Yankees, because I think that's what did you guys in last year. Yes. There was too many injuries. Because you got the team. You definitely got the team that could win a World Series.
Absolutely.
The problem is that the injury bug crippled you guys. And that was definitely the moral of the story. Can they turn it around? Can they bring it all together? We'll wait and see. But right now, we'll just it's definitely fun to watch. They're the team to watch right now. Definitely number one, no doubts.
And we also got Edwin Encarnacion from Seattle. What?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Remember how you was talking about how back in the day when SmackDown it was like the rich getting richer?
Yep.
That's how I feel about the New York Yankees. The rich was getting richer. And now think about this. They're going to be players in the trading deadline because they're definitely going to want to add a couple of pieces to try to fortify your team as a possible World Series candidate. Who do you get? I heard Madison Bumgarner's name getting thrown around. As a matter of fact, I even heard Madison Bumgarner's name getting thrown around for Atlanta. Of all teams, the Atlanta Braves possibly making a run at Mad Dog. So I mean, look, this is what happened with Dallas Keuchel. With the Keuchel situation, Atlanta and the Yankees were going at it toe to toe for his services. He actually ended up going to Atlanta, and it helped us a little bit. He hasn't panned out as of yet, but he had a great start the other night. Only gave up 2 runs on 7 innings, 5 strikeouts. So I mean, I think once he gets past the All-Star break, we might get the old Keuchel, and if we do, look out. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
Yes, and as far as Madison Bumgarner goes, I mean, if this was like 4 or 5 years ago, I'd be excited, but he has not been the same since that magical run he had in 2014 when he was literally the heart and soul of that Giant team that won the 3rd World Series in that 5-year stretch, back when they had that dynasty going. But since then, that team has not been the same at all.
True.
But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I would love to see that Madison. If the Yanks were to get him, I would love to see him be that old Madison Bumgarner, that 2014 postseason Madison Bumgarner, especially in games. We'll never forget Game 7 of that World Series. I mean, that was the greatest relief performance I ever saw. So nothing really more to say on that. MF, obviously, you're in agreement with the Yanks at number 1?
Yes.
Okay. So that's it. We're going to put the bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. MF, let's get into your shout outs and then I'll set up the future content.
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as ridiculously over as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. To the super fans, to the 2184 crew, to my friends in the junior high and high school days, I love you guys to death. Thank you for all your support and everything. You guys are awesome. And that is it for me. So thank you guys and have a great night. Anthony, take it home.
Yeah, hang in here, MF. Of course, we got some exciting future content coming up. Of course, special shouts to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as over as they are. Like MF said, we appreciate it as always. Of course, Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family. Our insiders, Matt Ward and Jason Hicksonbaugh. Daniel Luttrell from the UK. The First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. The crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Albert Anderson, and Rob Parsons. And, of course, Derek Ferrero, who puts it all together. Michael Bullock, who couldn't be with us tonight for a very good reason. No worries on that. Hopefully we'll have him back Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. And then, of course, all of our personalities at 6, 10, and 12. ESPN, FS1, MLB Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, NFL Network. You know who you are. Lindsey McCormick and Stata Sorrell. Our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, Michaela Johnson, the former Ghosts, Megan Mooney, and Mary Larson. And last but not least, my dear and wonderful friends over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out, exit 25 on Route 95. Sunday morning at 10:30, Sunday service. 7 o'clock Wednesday night's Bible study, other things going on. And that'll do it for that. Monday night, we got Ridiculously Raw. We'll review Monday Night Raw. Go home show for Extreme Rules. 205 Live and Impact Wrestling and my Tony's Take. And also, I will also have the exclusive results from Sunday night's Slammiversary pay-per-view. So you don't want to miss that. Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on MF's work schedule, we got the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. SmackDown Live's Go Home show for Extreme Rules. We'll see what happens with that. If MF has anything in the Mikey's mindset, I know he'll share it. Strictly Sports, I'm sure next week. No Major League Baseball power rankings. because it's All-Star break, and that's been our decree over the last few years. And then next weekend, next Saturday, we'll have to set a time because we'll be previewing the Extreme Rules pay-per-view from Philadelphia, the Illadelph. And of course, the Sunday after that, of course, MF will have the recaps. So very exciting week coming up. So that's it. So until Monday Night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up 44 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. Of course, we can't forget about In Spirit, Michael Bullock, Didi Whitson, and Derek Ferreira. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye. And until Monday Night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com.